Beal and the Washington Wizards are in a really interesting place, right? So Bradley Beal signed a 5-year, $250 million contract extension. He got a new deal. And a big concern is, will that deal be worth it in the long run? And how long will Bradley Beal be willing to stay with the Wizards, right? Bradley Beal, it's one of those things where you sign the contract, you get your money now, and you worry about the new destination later, right? We've seen a lot of players in today's NBA kind of take that approach, take that route. Bradley Beal himself also said one of the reasons that led to him re-signing and getting a new contract was the lack of options out there. He had an interview where he talked about, potentially leaving the Wizards, and he's not opposed to leaving the Wizards. He wants to win. Right, he did say that he would feel better if he won in Washington, right? Being in that place and getting that W, that it would feel more, just more powerful and feel more of an accomplishment than if he went elsewhere and did it. But he wants to win. That is the ultimate goal. And it doesn't really look like Washington can win with him. Not just that, but there's a lot of concerns that Washington, with his massive contract, will be able to build a contender that can actually compete with Bradley Beal in the Eastern Conference, especially with so many good teams in the East, right? And Washington is kind of in the middle of the pack. And let's be honest, they're not winning anything, right? Who thinks that Washington is really going to walk away and win an NBA championship this year or even the next? I mean, they do have a pretty decent team, but they're still 12th in the Eastern Conference, right? Kyle Kuzma, he seems to be in a lot of trade rumors lately. Kristaps Porzingis, he's been pretty nice, but are they going to end up trading him? And a lot of execs, based on reports, seem to think that Bradley Beal should be traded, that they believe that the Washington Wizards should trade Bradley Beal specifically to the Lakers. That is right. I guess based on reports, a lot of executives believe that Bradley Beal should be traded to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks. And here's exactly where it said and where it came from. According to one recent report, people around the NBA think the Washington Wizards would be making a good move if they opted to trade star guard Bradley Beal in exchange for the Los Angeles Lakers 2027, 2029 first-round picks and former MVP Russell Westbrook. NBA insider Zach Lowe broke down the recent rumblings around the league and mentioned the conversations he's been having regarding the Lakers and Beal. Apparently, there are some who think the Wizards should do whatever they can to get off of Beal's gargantuan contract. Here's what Zach Lowe actually had to say. So what he said is, I asked through the lens of is Russ and 2 unprotected picks, is that fair value for Bradley Beal? He said when talking about his discussions with executives around the league. And if you ask 25 people around the league, you would get everything from, you'd get some people saying, oh my God, no, Bradley Beal is a top 25 player, multiple-time All-NBA player. That's not even close to request value for Bradley Beal. And then you'd get another group of people who'd be like, honestly, anything the Wizards can get to get off of that contract, they should probably do. Now, even Zach Lowe himself, in this article, he talks about how, he's not very high on it. He doesn't really see the points and stuff. But based on just what he's talked with executives, is that there is a real concern and issue that Bradley Beal's contract is going to become a problem later on down the road. And you're not winning now. And towards the end of that contract could potentially be one of the worst contracts in the league based on, the type of player he is, his injury history, all of those factors. You'd be better off to get off of him now and let it be somebody else's problem. But instead of taking on long-term salary and replace to just get, some assets and stuff, go get Russell Westbrook and clear your books, right? Because Russell Westbrook would essentially clear your books. And Bradley Beal has been linked to the Lakers on several occasions. There have been murmurs that the Lakers are waiting for Bradley Beal to become available and maybe work out a trade for Bradley Beal. And so that is something that could be a real possibility. Maybe the Lakers really do know something we don't. Right? I mean, I'm sure the Lakers know a lot of things that we don't. They've had the conversations. They've had the discussions. Bradley Beal has been linked to the Lakers in a potential trade before, and Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks. And we even got a report yesterday that the Lakers have this pie-in-the-sky fantasy of going and getting a star like Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine or, Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Kyle Lowry. Washington at some point they're going to have to make a decision. And at some point, Bradley Beal might make the decision for them. Because again, Damian Lillard, he's a guy that has been extremely loyal and wants to stay in Portland. Win or lose, he wants to stay in Portland, right? Bradley Beal is in many ways similar to Dame, but he's not against leaving Portland. He said it this year in the offseason in an interview with Taylor Rooks, I believe, was the interview he had. And he talked about, if I want to win, if I have to go somewhere else, that's what I'll do to win. And again, it was one of those things, get the money now and then worry about the destination later. And the Lakers could be a real destination. Bradley Beal, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, that's a trio that's good enough to probably win a championship, right? If not several, depending on the pieces around him, especially the way that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are playing right now. Bradley Beal coming in would be great. Bradley Beal would also give you that star after LeBron. You'd have Bradley Beal and Anthony Davis for the long haul, and you kind of build around those two. It's just Bradley Beal's contract is a rough contract going forward. I mean, it's a lot of money for a guy that's not really like a top 5 guy. Like if this was, Kevin Durant or something like that, sure. But in the same breath, this might be the only superstar or star. I wouldn't really call him a superstar, but star. This might be the only star that you could probably realistically get for Russell Westbrook and those two first if he were to want out. Right? Because how many teams, one, can go and pony up the salary needed to then go and get a Bradley Beal? Maybe you could make an argument, maybe the Nets, right? Would the Nets, because Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, they buddies. Bradley Beal was in Washington. There have been talks about Kevin Durant maybe at some point going to Washington and playing with Beal, things like that. That never ended up happening. So maybe a team like the Nets would say, hey, we're probably going to lose Kyrie Irving this year. Maybe we could trade Kyrie Irving for Bradley Beal. That would be enough maybe to entice Kevin Durant to stay, and him and Bradley Beal could kind of be our duo going forward with Ben Simmons, and we could kind of build the team around them. And then Kyrie Irving would, go to the Wizards. Wizards would probably buy out Kyrie Irving, and then Kyrie Irving would likely go to the Lakers if that ended up happening. That might actually end up being the best case scenario for the Lakers. But in reality, also, the Nets don't really have picks to move. They don't really have anything to trade. So what could you do there? And again, how many other teams have assets and would be willing to pony up the assets for Bradley Beal? Like how many teams are looking at Bradley Beal and going, that's the piece we need to win a championship? That's another question. So if Bradley Beal wanted out and did request a trade and the Wizards did end up wanting to move him, there might not be many options outside of the Lakers. In all reality, the Lakers might end up being the one destination that is willing to give up, their first round picks, as well as you could basically clear all of his salary. Now, personally, I hope this doesn't happen because I'd rather the Lakers go with depth and get solid wing depth and, get a couple pieces and kind of see what you could do with Russ. I wouldn't be mad at it. If they went and got Bradley Beal tomorrow, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be like, oh man, what are they doing? Because I do think that these three have the potential to work. I think Bradley Beal, he gives you that scorer, that third option. He could be a guy that can really help now and the future. He could be a closer for you even. All of those things, right? Bradley Beal does make a lot of sense for the Lakers. But I would rather them go another approach and another route and just go get some depth. Even if you're trading Russ, I almost feel like you're better off. If I'd rather them almost go do the Hornets deal over getting Bradley Beal. I'd rather them get Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, and Kelly Oubre if you were going to trade Russ, and it probably wouldn't cost you both first, right? And in that case, now you got depth. You got a scorer in Terry Rozier. You got a young player that could play the power forward in PJ Washington. That almost feels like a better trade to me than Bradley Beal. Maybe they don't have the impact that Bradley Beal would have because Bradley Beal is an all-star. He is arguably a top 25 player in the league. So that's something. You'd have a top 25 player and 2 top 10 players. I don't think there's not another team in the league that has that. But, do they mesh? 2, is it worth it? Because this is basically your team for the next few years. I do think that they would be good enough to win a championship. And this would give you those 2 stars after LeBron. Because you'd have Bradley Beal locked in for the long haul. You basically go get Anthony Davis. You got your 1 and 2. You got your big, you got your big and small, big man, little man duo for the next, 5 years at least. which maybe could lead to several championships. Look, it always comes down to winning, right? In hindsight, if you win, that's all anyone cares about. Go win a championship. Nobody cares about anything else. So I don't know. I still don't think it'll happen. This does seem like a move that the Lakers would wait around for, and sort of that kind of pipe dream move that they're hoping ends up happening. But in all honesty, I hope it doesn't happen. But that's just me. As always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think that it makes sense if this is really on the table and the Lakers could get it? Do you think that, yes, go do it, go make the trade? Or do you think, no, don't do it, like go get some depth, go get some wing guys, things like that? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, I'd love to hear them. So let me know down in the comment section below.